Hey, what's going on YouTube? How y'all doing today? This is my episode 5. We're gonna talk about friendships, specifically man-to-man friendships. It's something that I struggle with even today. Even today, I still struggle with man-to-man friendships. Just having a male friend. I have one. If he was watching this video, he probably would agree. I have one friend, like one legit friend, and we're still navigating our friendship, to certain levels and stuff like that to get more into like the close friend level of friendship and everything like that. I have friends that they go to my church. I have friends that at my job, I have friends, stuff like that, in passing and stuff like that. And there's more like acquaintances, the one that go to church and work and stuff like that. But I don't really have like close friends. I have one friend that I feel that we're gonna get to. Hopefully, we get to that space. Just by me learning what friendships really are and how I should navigate it. It's just like I'm getting married and I'm still navigating my friendship with my own wife. I'm still kind of navigating that part of it because it's hard. It's hard, finding that space where you can be vulnerable with someone, where you can have a conversation with someone, where you can feel like whatever information that you give that person, that they take it in, they don't spread it to anybody else. And sometimes it's like it's hard to navigate because you don't know like what that looks like and everything. So I just want to welcome y'all again. We're gonna talk about friendships, man to man friendships, I try not to speak on women topics too much because, I just don't want that to be seen as like I'm some expert or something or I'm giving my opinion about what women should do in their friendships. I just want to give a man's perspective and hopefully that whoever's viewing that helps their thought process and it makes them understand that hey, we all struggle with this. I'm in my 40s and I'm still struggling with this, day to day because I want a close friends. I want all types of friends, all on all levels, and I want to be able to have these deep conversations and be able to have disagreements and have a just understanding of each other and stuff like that. So I want to have those things. But just welcome to my channel again. This your boy Ant. Rice's Decisions, right? Welcome to my channel, right? This information is shared is for advice. It's entertainment purposes only. Like it's my opinion. I'm not a guru. I'm not a person who just knows about all these things, but I choose these topics because hey, I want to know more about it. I want to know more about it. And hopefully it helps someone else who's viewing this video on how that looks, right? So, it don't cost a thing for y'all to like, share, subscribe, hit that notification bell, hit the bell, right? So you can continue to view this content, continue to vibe together. And if you're in the comments, like, hey, you're in the comments, throw your comments, like give tips on like, hey, this is how, I have good friends. Like I have friends for 2 years. I have friends that's over 10 years, especially for my fellas. Like y'all you've been hanging out with this dude, you've been chilling with him, having these conversations 10 years plus, 5 years plus. So like throw your input in here. Just hey, give me better ideas so I can develop better friendships in the future and stuff like that. Life happens and now I'm like, oh, let me figure this thing out. And I'm thankful, for just being, diving into these topics and looking at these things and get my own personal opinion about it hopefully it helps me get a lot of insight on what I need to do with my life and how I need to approach friendships and how I need to put stuff in there like that. Because growing up, I had friends. I think we had like three or four. Like it was me, um, and we had friends. We grew up in the neighborhood together. Then I ended up moving to a different place, and then we kind of got separated as friends. And then we kind of met back up in middle school and became friends. And I made a friend, at another elementary school. Then we were cool or whatever. But then it was like when we got to middle school, it was we kind of separated being friends because my old friends, or whatever, right? It was that dynamic was different because I had a friend in that moment because I had no friends in that moment. When I was in elementary school, then when I was in middle school, I met back up with the friends that I moved to a different area about. So we became friends, and then became friends with other people. Then I met people at church, stuff like that. And I had life stuff that go on. Then we kind of separated as being friends, and we didn't really hang out. And then I wanted to connect, but I never had, and this never really happened. So then, I joined the military. Then I'm moving to a different place. So then next, I don't have any friends, right? And then I'm spending year after year while I'm in the military. Then I'm getting transferred this place, the people I work with. So like having those boundaries, like who can be my friend, even though I work with them, like how that dynamic work. And I was putting this self reliance on other people where they didn't know my expectations. I didn't give them any expectations. We didn't never have a conversation on how a friendship maybe should look, like how our friendship could be or whatever the case may be. I didn't know there was different levels to like close friends, acquaintances, all of these things. I didn't know anything about all this stuff like that. So I'm just trying to figure this thing out. And it's that dynamic. It's like it messes me up because it's like, oh yeah, I wasted a lot of time not really trying to figure this thing out. Now I'm in my age, I'm figuring it out. So you gotta start from somewhere. And I'm looking at my life, I'm like, I'm gonna start here. I'm gonna start here. I am going to start here, right? And it's like, it's so many different things that go on in life with being a friendship. It's like the nature of things, the dynamics, the challenges, it's life be life. All these things be happening in our lives, and we don't understand that we need to have good friendships. You know, whether we're married or outside of marriage, we should have married couple friendships. We have friendships outside of marriage. Just regular friendships, stuff like that. I'm gonna dive a little bit into like the dynamic opposite sex friends. Like and male and female when y'all single. I'm gonna dive a little bit into that because it's kind of like we gotta come from somewhere to understand that like we have to set realistic boundaries, realistic terms and outlines and realistic timelines on how our friendship can go from just being an acquaintance, sometimes we talk in passing, to a person that we talk about something we have in common, right? And how that works and how that dynamic works. And then how we go to the point where, okay, I'm having issues with some family members and I'm having a whole conversation with you about that. And all this stuff like that comes into place. So if we understand as it being a friendship, right? And how it's there, right? So it's like, if two guys, like just in general, like if two, like two guys have a friendship, right? And they're too close, right? Maybe they hugging each other, maybe whatever, right? Sometimes in society they deem that okay, they gay, they're this, they're that, right? If they're too close, if they're too whatever, right? And everything. So that have an issue with guys really linking up because if they're hugging too much, they dabbing each other, like they too cool. Some people think that it's something more than just really platonic, just like, hey, that's my homeboy. We hang out, talk about life, we do life together, we living and stuff like that and stuff like that, right? And sometimes it's a competition thing where it's like, hey, I'm a shorter guy. I'm a shorter guy on the spectrum. So like I'm under 5'7", right? I'm a short guy. Like I'm like Kevin Hart short, right? So and if I have a friend that's like 6'1", 6'2", sometimes it's weird. You know what I'm saying? Because it's like it's a different dynamic. It's kind of like oh whatever. Sometimes you know like they could be younger than me, right? And sometimes people approach a taller person in general or something like that about stuff than a shorter guy. Like they whatever they it's like taller guy, I guess, in some instance or whatever, commands more respect. So then that competition and stuff like that going in a situation comes about, right? Or a taller guy, right, looks at a shorter guy and feel like, oh, okay, I can push this guy around, right? Taller guys deemed to try to size up guys, right? And they size up where they can really push buttons with a shorter guy because he's like, okay, he ain't gonna fight back or he not gonna do this or whatever the case may be, right? In certain situations or whatever, right? So it's this competition thing, right? Or if a guy's doing what he's supposed to be doing or whatever, and the guy's not doing what he's supposed to be doing, then he might be jealous in some way or another. And he don't know how to pronounce that, or like maybe he should link up with that person because they're doing something that he should be better at, and he don't want to grow and learn because he feel like he's small or he feels smaller than the other person because they're doing something better than them, right? And it's like, or we don't talk about our feelings. Like, oh man, don't talk about their feelings. They don't really talk about themselves or whatever. They don't really share their feelings because most guys, right, in general, in relationships, right, when we build a friendship with another guy, we come on common ground. Okay. And what I mean by that is like, I like to watch football. I can watch football from 1 p.m. until 8 p.m. to the last game come on. I can watch football the whole day and not think twice about it, right? And the only reason I really don't because my wife's like, oh, you need to do this, stuff like that, right? But I can watch football on a Sunday and watch the whole day and not do nothing else, right? So I might have a common ground with a guy that watches football. So if I have a common ground with a guy that watches football, right, we have a foundation. Now we have a preliminary foundation. I could talk to this guy about football. We have a common ground, right? And as guys, we're okay with just staying right there. That's all we do is talk about football. Now we might want more in a more relationship, or more friendship, but we're okay with that. Okay? Because if we can't find that friendship necessarily in that guy, right? Because maybe we tried to like dive in a little bit deeper and it didn't really work out and we tried multiple times and it's up, so we kind of stay in the lane. And if we can find another guy where we are not talking about football, we're talking about other things, right? As long as we find something in common, we could be friends. That's what guys to guys do. As long as we have something in common, we could be friends, right? Because literally, I can talk to one of my friends and I'll talk to him for 2 months, right? And then we could start right back up, hey, catch up or whatever, and we cool, right? It's no breakage. It's not like, oh, whatever, right? But I do have, I have the one friend I do have, right? He likes to have constant conversation, constant connection, constant like whatever. Like he wants to talk, whether it's messages on Facebook, whether it's Instagram, whatever, he wants to talk. And I'm cool with that. Right? I'm cool with that. It's no problem at all for me to do that, right? Because I'm open, right? I had friends, when I was growing up, I had a friend, but he was into hockey. I didn't care for hockey, but I sat down and watched hockey games with him. I went to a hockey game with actually like a real hockey game with him, right? Because I was open to the fact that he likes sports. Maybe he didn't like the sport that I like necessarily. He likes sports, so we could sit down. We still made a common ground with sports, and I could learn then. I learned something about hockey. I learned about what the hockey stick and puck and like how they go and positions stuff like that. So I learned something new about hockey, right? Nowadays, I don't really watch hockey or whatever the case may be because when he was with my friend, I enjoyed things that he enjoyed. And then when I enjoyed things, he enjoyed things I enjoyed, right? Regardless of whether or not he was familiar with it or he really cared about it, right? It's just like I have friends literally who do not watch sports at all. They don't watch any sports. But it's other things that we have in common. Maybe they read a certain book that I like and we talk about that. Or maybe we just talk about relationships in life and just things or whatever. It's something like it doesn't necessarily be sports. Because I really don't care whether or not you like sports. You don't have to like everything I like, but to be friends. And that's what this man in the dynamic, right, can be great, right, if we can know how to navigate it. Because I think what we feel at is we don't navigate it well with other men. And that's what I'm still learning right now. We don't really know how to navigate it because what we need to do is when we find a common ground, we need to build off that common ground. So whether it's sports, whether it's our job, whether it's the industry that we work in, whether we're an entrepreneur, whether that, we build off of that. We should be okay with the fact that if I'm an entrepreneur and this other person an entrepreneur and our relationship is just that. Right? We just talk about business, we just talk about whatever. We as men we could be okay with that. But we need to use friendships, our common ground as a foundation to build out from that. Because hey, okay, you're married, like you're married, I'm married, okay, cool, right? Now, hey, maybe we can introduce our wives. Cool. You got kids, or how old are your kids? How old are these kids, right? Maybe it's an interaction right there, right? So that builds a little bit layer, right? Now I get close. I see where you live, right? Start to see where you live. Like it's building little layers, little by little, on it, right? Kids hang out together. Maybe they play basketball together. Maybe or whatever, a sport together, or whatever the case may be. So you're building on that commonality. So that's what guys are good at. But it's just extending that what messes it up for us as guys, right? We don't go past it. We just leave it at that, right? So we play pickup basketball at a gym, right? We just completely leave it at that, right? And not say, hey, oh, let's exchange numbers, like, oh, let's hang out, do something else, or whatever, chill, whatever, right? So you can build some of that dialogue, so you can build off of that. So the number one thing is find common ground. With man to man relationships, that's what I'm learning. I'm trying to figure out right now. Number one is finding common ground. Finding common ground. So you find something, a topic that you relate to, that you can connect on, that you can have a conversation on. Boom. As soon as you find that common ground, then you start diving into other stuff. Okay, you're married, I'm married. If you're single, you're single. Okay, cool. Where you like to hang out? Like what you do when you have a hobby, whatever. Maybe, hey, the guy has a hobby, right? That you both of you like to do. Maybe he likes to run, and you like to run. So now you're like, okay, cool. Now you're like, you know what? Let's meet up and run. Let's go run together once in a while, right? It don't have to be every week or every day. It could be like once a month, once every couple of months, right? And after you run, y'all can have a conversation. Hey man, like what's going on with you? What's up with your life? You're like, oh, I'm doing this, whatever. This is my job. This person getting on my nerves. Then you're building dialogue. Now you're learning. Okay, what he does is his job. Now you're learning, basically like how he interacts with his job. It's his job feeling. Like, does he like his job? He probably don't like his job. You're like, all right, like, probably you looking all right. And you might know somebody, hey bro, like he in cybersecurity. Oh, this guy, oh, this other company is hiring and stuff like that. So boom, boom, bango, right? So then you're building little by little. But now it's a common interest, right? Now you have other things that connect y'all life together, right? Marriage, being single, right? Kids, right? Those things are connecting y'all lives together. So then y'all can start diving in. Oh, okay. How long you been married? Okay, I've been married this long. How this thing, right? So that's one, the commonality. Two, what other interests that y'all have together, right? What other interests link y'all together, right? Just like I said, marriage, anything like that. And then number three is, right? Can I be vulnerable? Can I tell you something that I need either advice on or have that commonality? And then that is built on the more y'all hang out with each other, the more y'all get to know each other lives and stuff like that. And then you can go, not it's not a test, but you can start giving information. Say, hey, like maybe it's a marriage thing. You see, like his marriage seems, y'all hung out a couple of times or whatever, and like their dynamic with his wife is like really cool or whatever. And you like, hey, I've been having an issue with my wife, and this is why I've been issue. He like, oh, I had this issue years ago, and this is how me and my wife kind of walked through it and talked through it. But oh, okay, right. And then now you have an idea of how you approach your marriage. Not doing it the same way, but it gives you a better idea how to approach that situation, right? Just like I said, right? Please like, share, right? Subscribe, right? This helps me get more of my content out there. This helps me reach more people. And as friends, like as men, as friends, like sometimes we got to take a little bit from a woman, right? Because a woman literally, like women, some women, right, when they have friendships, they know, like within the first week, they know everything. They know like how many kids they have, what hobbies they have, like they're breaking down this whole thing. Now, but the thing is, just like I said before, point one is having that commonality. Point two is finding other things that bring y'all together, right? Whether it's family, kids, whatever the case may be, that connect you two together, okay? Whether it's work, maybe it's the same industry, like I said before. And thirdly, it's really just testing each other out and kind of like having some of these conversations, right? Small conversations. You don't tell them all your business up front, but you tell them a little bit. And he's like, oh, okay. And if he comes back with something or say, oh, I'm going through the same thing, but like, what do you think about it? Like, or maybe you could play it back in your head of like how the conversation went. And he'd be like, dang, I was an idiot. Like, dang, I talked to my wife that way. Like, I could have just took a breath and not acted the way it went, right? So that's three. Finding that thing that you can be vulnerable with and building off of that slowly and not it up. Like, because women can know everything about each other straight from day one, day two, and they're like, oh, we friends, right? And then sometimes it crashes and burns because we're not slowly building a foundation, right? We're trying to lump the whole foundation of one thing, the slab, and then just throwing it in the ground, right? And we're not sectioning it all, right, to have a stronger foundation because it comes in pieces. It don't come in one, right? It don't just come in one thing. Like a foundation is not just built off of one thing. It has something at its core, right? And then it's built around it, right? To set a foundation, like for a house, to set a foundation. So we have to understand those things and understand this as men, right? We do things right in friendship because when we find something in common, we're boys. We find one thing. It could be one thing. And we find one thing in common with another guy, we're boys for life. We're boys for life. Trust and believe. Like, you are cool. Because, hey, because especially with sports, and I got like football. You like football? Trust and believe. It's always somewhere we can go. What? Catch a football game and chop it up. Right? If we have kids, like if you have a kid, like I have a young daughter in cheerleading, right? And then I meet another guy, he got a young daughter in cheerleading. We're connected already on cheerleading. So we could just, oh, we got a cool, oh, we could just talk, and we could talk about random stuff. Now our children connect each other. Now we can, oh, you like football, you like whatever, like what you trying, oh, I'll go here, right? Because I have friends, I have one of my friends, right? He's really into like comic books and Comic Con and all stuff like that, right? And right, that's not really like my thing, but I would go to a Comic Con event with him. I hang out with him because we just like to hang out with each other. I don't care whether or not I care for this or that. Like that's the thing. Like you got to stop doing it. It's like, oh, I don't really care for that, so I'm not going to do that. Or I'm not really an outside person, so I won't even go outside. Like that's what limits us from doing other things because we don't have that necessary that interest, but we're just putting ourselves and getting ourselves stuck in whatever we're doing, and it doesn't make any sense at all. It don't make any sense, right? And I'm like even though I'm talking right now, right? I'm teaching myself right now something on how I should approach my friendships, my current friendship, and my friendships going forward, right? Just having this conversation and just having this thing, right? Because it's like when you find somebody like a cool friend, like that loyalty, right? That shared activities, right? That mutual respect for each other, that camaraderie, but it can't. It's like it's great because we don't want to die alone. Like I want, like if I like, hopefully, God forbid me passing away anytime soon. But when I do leave this earth, right, and the friends that are still alive, I still want to have those friendships where they show up at my funeral. I'm like, bro, like Anthony was a good guy. Anthony was a, stand up dude. I don't want to be like, oh, I never knew him. Like they never knew him, and that like people just showing. Only people that ask my family members showing up, right? Because they just happen to be blood relatives, so they show up to my funeral, right? I want friends, family, like I want a whole big thing, right? Because even when I lost my mom when I was a teenager, right, I didn't know the impact she had on people in general. Like and the friends she had, like I didn't know who her friends were. I was just a kid. I just wanted to develop the friends I had. But when it was sad that she passed, but I met a whole lot of people. Hey, your mom was this to me. Your mom was this. We were best friends. We hung out. We talked stuff like that. Right? I wouldn't know. I was oblivious to that because I was a kid. I was just wanting to be a kid. Yeah, so I didn't care who my parents' friends were. Like them having friends or knowing they having friends didn't really matter to me. Like I wasn't even thinking about that. But as adults, we're like, oh, we need to have good friends so we can model good friendships to our kids. But sometimes our kids don't care. But I know I didn't care. Like I didn't know any of my mom's friends, and people did come over. People did hang out. They did, you know what I'm saying. So it wasn't like the house was closed off to people. Like people did come over to hang out, right? But my aunties and my cousins and stuff like that. Like we all lived like kind of close together. So like I was connected with my cousins and my aunties stuff like that a lot closer. But as an adult, like I don't really necessarily talk to all my family like I probably should because we didn't. You know what I'm saying? Like it's just like we just went different places in different worlds, and that's what the problem is, right? Because we don't know how to be friends. Like even if that friend lives in a whole different state or a different country, right? We don't know how to navigate friendships on every level in every position, and that what messes us up in the long run, right? It just messes up in the long run, right? All right. So just like this, just I said before, right? Men don't talk about feelings. Oh, they don't talk about how they feel, stuff like that. We just gotta work through that and stuff like that because as men growing up, we were told not to show our feelings. And sometimes when we're in places where we show our feelings, we are projected as being weak, right? If I say I feel about a situation, I feel better. But some women can say, I feel about this, I feel about that, I feel about that, I feel about that. And then we necessarily, as guys, we have to validate those feelings. But if a guy says, hey, I feel this or whatever, they just seem this weak. You feel or whatever. Because most guys, we try to lead with logic, right? And we do have feelings, we do have emotions, but they're like, oh, you shouldn't be leading with no with your feelings, but you're making me feel this way. Like I'm trying to figure out how to navigate it. Maybe my feelings is me, or maybe my feelings is because you are doing a certain way, and I shouldn't be feeling a certain way. So I'm just trying to navigate it and cancel it out and whatever because I could be feeling a certain way. I could be in a situation a certain way, right? So this is what I'm saying. Like it's like we can express our limit, but we have to set that foundation, like I said before, right? One, right? You find a commonality, right? That's what guys, we are great at finding a common thing, right? Whether sports or whatever it is, we are great at finding a common thing that we could just build off of, right? But sometimes we just don't build off of it. That's what messes us up. We don't build off that commonality and branch into other things that bring us closer together, right? In the long run, right? We just kind of stick with that because we're like, oh, I don't want to test the waters or whatever, or past experiences or whatever the case may be, right? And some women they think, oh, they're shallow or whatever. It's just based on activities or stuff like that. Yeah, but this is like with anything, it's based on activity. Like it's based on something. Like maybe we had a group of friends come together and then we hung out. But it's just what I'm saying is like even with guys, like sometimes we just like if you like this is my wife. Just say my wife meets another guy, right? He's married. They interact together. And then she introduces me to him, right? That's a hard line, right? Understand, right? When your wife meets a guy, right? He could be married, right? I'm just hopefully that he's married, right? And maybe they interact or whatever, right? And she is cool with the wife. And then they like, oh, okay, right? And they kind of meet whether it's work or church or something like that, right? Then she introduces you to the husband, right? So y'all could be cool or whatever because the wife they hit it off. Because most women they hit it off from jump. Like as long as they got good vibes, they hit it off, right? Guys, we're like we gotta find some common ground. We don't find no common ground. Is that it's kind of like we hit a wall and we really don't go for that because we don't want to feel like we're trying to benefit off of some other guy, whatever, stuff like that. Like some people I just want to be cool with, but it's sometimes like, oh, I might need something from them, but I don't want to ask on me or something because we're still early in our friendship. But it's kind of like I'm trying to make a move, you know what I'm saying? So it's like that navigation piece is weird. Like it's just me, right? So it's like, and then for guys, right, we cut stuff off quickly because we understand that vulnerability and trust is a thing, right? It's kind of like if I'm having conversation with one of my friends, and but he's telling his wife, like we are just having a conversation because my friend that's married might be struggling, right? He might be struggling with something that is not good for his marriage, and he's trying to navigate that, right? And I might be a situation where I overcame that situation, so I'm guiding him through the thing. But if I'm telling my wife what my friend is struggling with at the moment, because he has a place where he can overcome that situation, but he struggling with it at the moment, right? And I tell my wife, then my wife tells his wife, right? Now that's creating turmoil when he's trying to work through his process of thing because he can't tell his wife everything. I can't tell my wife everything, right? You just can't. And wives, some wives generally want you to tell them everything. And it's like, yo, it doesn't help the process of me having a friendship with my guy friend because he might be going through something that could affect his marriage, but at the same time, he's working through processing it or whatever. And he's trying to find a place and the best way to approach it to even tell us why. And maybe that's what it is, right? And sometimes we jump the gun and we come to like some women jump the gun and they come to this whole conclusion without any foundational standard or basis or what it is, because it might be something that triggers them in their body, in their mind, because they probably dealt with it. And some women feel like a man shouldn't be speaking on certain things, right? And I'm probably going off the subject because this is about man and man conversations and friendships, that we need to build more man and man friendship, right? It's We need to build more men and men friendships. We need to stop with this like, oh, I can be friends with a girl. No, you cannot. Like the opposite sex, a man, they can't really be friends because at the end of the day, most men, maybe I'm tripping, and in the comments, so y'all can tell me if I'm tripping. Most men who interact with a woman, for the most part, right, try to talk to them initially, right? Then they got put into more of a friend zone. Okay, see how this video is just live and uncut because I literally turned off my damn Amazon Alexa. So it's like who at the door, you know what I'm saying? Like, so this is raw uncut edit, man. I'm coming off just basically like this is who I am. I'm putting a video out. I'm rewatching it or whatever, but I'm not doing no editing. I'm just gonna give you how I'm feeling about something, and hopefully this helps you. Like it helps me, right, be a better friend, and hopefully it helps you be a better friend, right? Either way, women or men, like it doesn't matter. Helps you be a better friend because just like I want to bring you back to it, right? One, you have to find a common thing that y'all like to do around. Y'all like to do, interact, talk about it, whatever, right? Then you build off of that, right? Then you find other commonalities that bring you together because maybe y'all have kids. Now these kids is kind of situation, right? Kind of helps you branch off some of those conversations, right? And then you build off of that, where it's like, hey, now I'm at a point where I can tell you something personal, right? And then if it gets spread around, you know, like, oh, right? You know what I'm saying? Like, oh, this is, okay, that don't necessarily mean I don't need to be friends with that person, but it means, hey, right? We're just at our common thing, right? We like football, we just talk about football. We don't need to talk about anything deeper than that, right? And that might be what the friendship is, but we gotta be okay with that. Like, and then hopefully, you know, we just pray and ask God to give us people around us to put us in friendships and in situations that is good for you to start building those, from acquaintances to friendships to close friends to very close friends to like now we locked in, we linked in, like we really do life together. Like we really help each other in life and situations, so all that stuff can play out, right? All that stuff can play out, right? So we can have that acquaintance, that casual friend that might you just might hit up every once in a while. Y'all might go to a sports bar and chop it up and just talk about football or whatever, right? Then there's that close friend where it's like y'all vulnerable with each other. Y'all know each other's lives, like y'all know each other where each other live. You know y'all in the round, right? And then with that best friend where it's like I can call, like that best friend, that close friend, best friend, probably the same thing. I can call my best friend at 2 in the morning, but hey, bro, this is what I'm dealing with. Like, yo, like, help me out. And hopefully, these friendships get to that, right? And we have to be patient. And we might, in those processes, where we'll have somebody that's only there for, they might be only there for a season, right? So they might be cool with you for 2 years, and then y'all just kind of like not be friends anymore. They might be cool with you for 10 years, and then y'all just not whatever the case may be, because things happen, things change, people move, whatever the case may be, and that might be a certain thing that might, whatever, right? Just like I said before, right? It's these barriers that we kind of put as guys, right? We might fear being weak, because we're emotional or we're, sharing our feelings, with another guy, right? Or being, vulnerable, right? And maybe too vulnerable too fast. And then the dude's like, bruh, like, what are you doing, right? And then like, you weak or whatever. Man, you can't take care of yourself or whatever. Because we might be in a situation where that's what we think. If we express some friendship, or we express love, or we express for my homeboy or whatever, that it's got to be something more than that. It got to be that we weak, that we whatever, right? It has to be all these things. Like just like I said, like moving, career change, all that stuff, right? Can separate us. And I think sometimes when we actually get somebody's phone number, that we reach out to this person on a regular basis, that we talk and call and we text, say, hey, what's up? Like just to hit them up and see what's going on with them, stuff like that, right? So, but just what I'm saying, because like I said before, right? Our friendships get better and better because, right, we just have open communication, honestly, right? Just be honest, but hey, tell a dude like, hey, I want to be your friend, bro. Like, I want us to be friends. Like, like it's okay. Like, I'm not saying you got to be out there. Like, as soon as you meet a dude, you have common interests. Oh, I want to be friends, but over time, you should be like, hey, bro, like, y'all get to a point where y'all kind of communicating with each other and hanging out, whatever. Like I want to like we're gonna be like I want to get to a point where we're good friends, we're close friends that we can, you know, be there for each other, like hard times, good times, where we just be cool with each other, like and and hold each other accountable and lift each other up when we're down, stuff like that. So all this stuff like that, right? And this is what I'm saying, like, and then as guys, so like I'm a natural introvert. Now I'm doing these videos. You probably don't think that, but I'm a natural introvert. So it takes me a little time to talk to people and stuff like that. But I just feel sometimes as anybody, we just gotta initiate conversation. Right? We gotta just initiate these conversations. Like, hey, what's your name? All right, cool. What you like to do? And just do that, right? Even if it's not being reciprocated. Because I think sometimes we get messed up because it's not reciprocated. So it's like you calling, you're planning the meetups, you're calling it, you scheduling a time, you're doing stuff like that. And I think sometimes when we do that multiple times, we get tired of doing it, and then we just back out because the other person's right. And I understand you want reciprocation with friendship, but you still have to be the friend. You have to be the friend that you want. And you might hit and miss some of these guys that are not the friend, right? They don't reciprocate the friendship like you, but you still have to be the person that you want. You have to be the friend that you want. And if you're not the friend that you want, and then you back out, that means you're gonna get what you're gonna get. You're gonna get people who they initiate something, they set something up, and they don't set something up. Then they set something up, then they don't set something up. Like it's all of this craziness and stuff like that. And then you go, oh, dang, I don't got friends. You don't got friends because you're not being the friend that you wanted at the end of the day. All right? This is what I'm saying. Make time for each other. Even with schedules is crazy, as friends, make right. This is the applicable thing. Initiate conversations. Have conversations, right? Outside of just what's in common. Have conversations, right? Make time despite busy schedules. We got wife, we got kids, we got jobs, we got all this stuff like that. But even if it's just once every couple of months, once a month, right? Make time, right? And dial in that time to be there, right? Even if it's just for 30 minutes, even if it's just to grab lunch, even if it's just to grab some food, even if it's like it's a movie, y'all like that, oh, watch the movie, whatever. And your wife really don't really care about watching the movie. Hey man, let's go hit a movie up, got some food, chill, whatever, right? Whatever it is, right? Find that common thing, right? And be reliable and consistent, right? If it's 2 months, then be consistent with 2 months. If it's 1 month, then be consistent 1 month. If it's 30 minutes, be consistent with 30 minutes, right? Be those things, right? And I got one friend, and I'm developing that friendship with my one friend. And hopefully, it develops into a way more like closer friendship. That's my homeboy, and hopefully, I meet other guys, and I meet like we hang out stuff like that, and then I can have multiple close friends, right? And sometimes it works out, sometimes it doesn't. But I want at the end of the day to have these friendships and have people I can hang out with. Have people I can invite over my house, go over their house. We can just hang out and chill. And sometimes it takes 3 or 4 months, and we might have that thing, and we cool. It might take 4 or 5 years before we even get to that point. right? And it might just be me, one person reaching out, setting the schedule, making time, stuff like that. It might be just me for that as a period of time because I'm gonna meet somebody that is me, that meets my match, that reciprocates on both sides. We hang out. I set up something, they set up something, whatever, and we just hanging out, and then we developing that friendship because I'm consistent doing being the friend that I need to be. Then I'm gonna have a lot of friends, right? I'm gonna meet the friends that I want because I'm going to be the friend that I want. I'm gonna get the friends that I want because I'm gonna be the friend that I want. And that's just plain and simple. That's just all simple, right? So it doesn't take much for me, right? Just please like, share, subscribe, hit that bell, right? So we can ride together and do stuff like that. And if anything I said, right, that resonates with you, like go in the comments or any other tips you like, hey man, you can do this, you can do that. Or maybe some books, maybe it's some videos, maybe it's a podcast or something like that that you like, hey man, listen to this podcast. Like they really talk about friendship, like for man and man friendships and stuff like that. Maybe that's something, right? So it's $2, right? That I'm going to really read, in a sense, so that probably helped me get better insight, right? One book it says The Friendship Factor, all right, by Alan McGinnis. Okay, The Friendship Factor by Alan McGinnis. That's a book I'm gonna recommend. I'm gonna read stuff like that. And it's another book called The Chosen by I'm gonna jack his name up. So it's ChaimPotok. It's The Chosen by ChaimPotok. So I'm going to find a link for these books. Okay, whether it's an Amazon link or something, I'm gonna find a link for these books and I'm gonna put it in my comments. So you can have these books or whatever, and you can look at them, whatever. I'm not promoting these books or nothing like that. I don't know these people, right? But I just think those 2 books you could read, and maybe it give you better insight on, just when you were a kid, how you develop friendships, and as you're an adult, how you doing navigate these friendships, and it's going to help. Hopefully, it helps me navigate friendships better and be a better guy or whatever. But just like I said, please like, share, subscribe, right? As you do this, it helps grow my page. It helps the notification bell, right? Share this video with other guys and say, hey, bro, and whatever. And they can throw in their comments and, hey, bro, and you could do this, you could do that. And that's what all I'm looking for. And I appreciate y'all. I love y'all. Y'all are great. Keep coming back to my page. And like I said, like, share, subscribe, hit the notification bell, right? So you can be notified of new videos and things that's gonna pop up. All right, but this is just me going off my soapbox, my friendships, and hopefully, I hope that it helps me, and hopefully it helps others, guys, like develop better friendships, right? And just like I said before, you know, right? Find that commonality friendship, right? Find other things that connect y'all together, whether it's family or friends or siblings, or maybe both of y'all are the baby of the family, right? Or whatever, or the oldest of the family. Like find those common grounds, right? So you can have deeper conversation. Maybe your childhood, maybe you grew up with a single mom, maybe you have both parents in the house, right? What those dynamics look like, and you can have those deeper conversations and build up friendships on. So I hope this helps y'all build friendships. And I know it's going to help me build better friendships with other people. And y'all be good. And I appreciate y'all so much. All right, bye.